So in 7D, we have secant squared theta minus 2 secant theta minus 3 equals 0. It's a quadratic equal to 0, so I need to factor this. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 3, add to negative 1. So I'm going to end up with secant theta minus 3, and I'm going to end up with secant theta plus 1. That's going to be equal to 0. So this will give us that quadratic, so we have it in the factored form. Once we have it in the factored form, we can solve these independently of each other. So starting with secant theta equals negative 1. Now this is a special angle ratio. To solve for secant, I first need to convert it to cosine. So cosine is going to be 1 over negative 1, so that still stays as negative 1. Negative 1 is a special angle ratio. So when I draw this in, the horizontal is equal to negative 1, only at one point on the circle. So theta is equal to, and this asks me to solve in terms of negative 180 to 180. So that's going to be at negative 180 degrees, since we can, it says here that positive 180 is not part of the domain because of that. Okay, so that's only one solution in that period, in that circle. Then we need to move on to the secant theta equals 3. So I get secant theta is equal to positive 3. I need to be able to, I don't have secant on my calculator, so I need to convert this to cosine. So cosine theta is equal to 1 over 3. This is not a special angle ratio, so I need to use my calculator. And since I'm using my calculator, I need to make sure I'm in degree mode. So in degree mode, when I do the arc cos of 1/3, 1 divided by 3, I end up with an angle of 70.53 degrees. So that's going to give me theta 1 is 70.53, it says 3 decimals, so 539 degrees. Okay, theta 2 is going to be symmetrical. It's going to be 360 minus 70.539 degrees. So when I work that out, I'm going to do 360 minus that answer. I get 289.471. So theta 2 is 289.471. Okay, and that's going to be, that is outside of my domain, so I actually have to, I'm going to have to find the coterminal angle, so I'm going to subtract 360 from that. So subtracting 360 from this will give me my coterminal angle. So I have the right position, but it's in the wrong quadrant, so it's going to be negative 70.539 degrees. And in fact, it would have been much easier just to have done it without my calculator, because if I draw this out, so 70 degrees is here. If I want to go in the negative direction, I could have just drawn it here, and I know that those two have the same symmetry for cosine, so those are my two theta 1 and theta 2 positions. Okay, so 70.539 and negative 70.539 are my answers. The coterminal position is 289.471 degrees.